What is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. After Sony's and Polyphony's little mix-up last week with the PlayStation Home and the trailer being leaked, we officially get the trailer relaunched at the time it was meant to. Or is it? It does make me wonder if this was a delayed update and was supposed to come earlier on in the month. Either way, it's finally coming tomorrow as the May 2025 update. And of course, as always when one of these trailer drops, it is accompanied by a blog post, and it's no different this time around with all of the content confirmed as coming alongside update 1.59. Of course, tomorrow morning I will then dive through the patch notes to see if there's any smaller nice hidden details sort of in the patch notes themselves, anything from physics changes to tire updates and things like that. So I'll do that tomorrow morning, but for now let's have a look at the content included with 1.59. The Gran Turismo 7 may update 4 new vehicles from different genres. The following is a list of contents included with update 1.59 for GT7, which is scheduled to be implemented on May 15th, 2025 or tomorrow. So number 1, 4 new vehicles from European high-class sports cars to Japanese micro trucks. Number 1 is the Chevrolet Corvette Z06 C5 from 2001. I think probably the most hyped up car of this update, and hopefully if Polyphony get the customization and such right, this could be one of the best post-launch cars ever added to GT7 period. We also have a bunch of accompanying screenshots, and as you can see, the model itself looks absolutely fantastic, and overall I just think this one will be incredible. I can certainly see it being a long-term fan favourite. However, it is a shame that it's taken them over 3 years to get this one in. Also, a worthy note is that we now have every generation of Chevrolet Corvette in Gran Turismo 7 now, which is a nice little touch. Alright, the second car that we're seeing screenshots of here is the Ferrari 812 Superfast from 2017. I think this one will be absolutely incredible. It does seem to be the sort of hero car of the update. It's the one that we see the most of in the trailer, and I definitely feel in terms of being added to the game, well, it's a Ferrari for one, it's incredibly quick, and I definitely think in VR this will be absolutely mind-bendingly good. However, when it comes to usability, I get a little bit weary when we see these sort of supercar type vehicles added, because a lot of them are incredibly thirsty and they never end up getting a decent enough engine swap to make them kind of viable for longer type of races, which is going to be a huge shame considering we got the Sophy 2.1 custom race update last time around, and I feel that would be perfect for this type of car to get the most use out of it. But overall, I do think this is an incredible addition, and I'm very excited to finally see it in game after 3 years of waiting around for it. Alright, next up is the Honda CR-V EHEVX Black Edition from 2021. What a mouthful that thing is. Overall, probably the most boring car of the update and the one with the least potential. The main reason, well, as you can see from the images here, it's an automatic, it's a hybrid, it's going to be stuck with a CVT transmission, stuck as an automatic in-game for the rest of time, and unfortunately that will make it completely useless. Again, when a car typically has a CVT transmission, because there is no transmission swaps in GT7, that means it's going to be stuck that way with no engine swap for the rest of time. As standard, I think it's something like just over 200 brake horsepower, all-wheel drive, but again, it's going to be stuck in this automatic type transmission in game, and it's going to be absolutely awful, unfortunately. A huge waste of what could have potentially been a pretty fun car, I guess, if they'd have got it right. Alright, the fourth car, or vehicle should I say, that we're seeing here is the Suzuki Carry KC from 2012, and I've been wanting the Daihatsu midget in Gran Turismo for the longest time to return, but unfortunately we're not really going to be getting that, are we? So this is kind of the next best thing, and I think it does have potential to be pretty incredible. Now, a lot of these meme cars do end up getting engine swaps down the line, and I certainly feel this could be one of them. Now, some of the potential engine swaps I could see happening here is the Suzuki VGT or the Suzuki VGT Group 3 variant. Now, both of those are a type of Hayabusa engine. Of course, if you know about those engines, they are ridiculous bike engines, and putting that in one of these would be incredible, especially if we get the Group 3 race variant, which means we'd then have race fuel efficiency. This one could be an absolute dark horse of the update. I don't care what anybody says. Alright, number 2, new world circuits will be added, so the following new events will be added to world circuits. We have the lightweight K Cup, great to see that returning. It's a personal favourite of mine over the years of Gran Turismo. This time it's Eigenaurswand. Now unfortunately it'll probably just be a couple of lap sprint and that'll be it. The same when it comes to the American Clubman Cup 700 at Interlagos. We'll probably see maybe 5 to 7 laps with the Corvette and that'll be it. Then of course we have a Ferrari circuit challenge to be expected when we see the Superfast added, and that is going to be at Deep Forest Raceway. The third point, more Gran Turismo Sophy compatible tracks will be added. I don't know why they're saying tracks because it seems to just be one. So in terms of Sophy AI, we are getting it added to the Grand Prix layout of Barcelona, Catalunya. Overall, this is a track that I'm personally not a fan of, but I know some other people really like this one. And well, you can now have a Sophy there, including the 2.1 update with custom race AI. And number 4, shooting the perfect square will be added as a feature creation in Scapes. So for you Scapes fans, you've got more of it. Now that is pretty much it for all of the notes, or I guess content notes for update 1.59. So nothing too out of the ordinary here. A very small update other than the cars, but that's kind of to be expected considering the World Series finals are coming up soon, and I think that's where, if anything, they'll show off the bigger updates for the year at one of those live rounds. So there we go, not much in terms of content for this update. It's a little bit like January where the cars are sort of the main star of the update itself, and honestly there's not really much else to do. I think if you're going to want to get the most out of these vehicles, you'll be running in Sophy 2.1 custom races. Anyway, as for the actual update itself, I think nobody should really expected this one to be that big. Let's be honest, the World Series finals are going to start being live soon, and if anywhere, that'll be where they show off the bigger type of updates. They did it last year and they'll probably do it again this year. So if we were to expect a bigger update for GT7 this year, that's when we'll probably need to start keeping our eyes peeled at these World Series final events. But what's my opinion on the confirmed content? Well, when it comes to the cars, am I happy about them? Honestly, yes. The C5 is an absolute legendary vehicle and I'm incredibly happy to see it, and also to see that one finally complete the entire collection of Corvettes in GT7. So for me, that is an extremely worthy addition. The 812 Superfast, well, like I've said, it's been on the elite car list for the longest time, and to finally see it in game is a huge win. Unfortunately, it just took them 3 years to actually get it in there. And even the Suzuki Carry, I think there's a lot of potential in that one as long as Polyphony don't mess it up, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm just extremely hopeful. K-Trucks have been in GT ever since GT2, so for me that is an absolute win, and it's great to see one back, and it's great to kind of see the spirit of older Gran Turismo games shine through. Now in terms of the Honda, I think that is just absolute junk. Honestly, I'm a Honda fanboy myself, but going for this sort of CVT type transmission variant is really not going to help that vehicle's case. For me, it's going to be up there with the Toyota as an incredibly bad addition. At least when it came to the Mazda CX-30, that had stuff going for it because it was a manual. So at least when it comes to the cars, I feel like it's a step in the right direction. There's a good variety, and hopefully they start carrying that momentum forward and don't just start dropping back again, adding even more junk. Again, the last two, I'd say 2 updates really, have been pretty terrible, and whilst this is nothing to shout about, it is still much better when it comes to variety of cars and types of cars, or vehicles should I say. In terms of the events, unfortunately they still seem incredibly lackluster. 3 of them, they're all going to be incredibly short, there is no doubt about that. I'll still check them out, but I'm not holding my breath. I think most of my time with this update will be spent in Sophy 2.1 once again, and in terms of the rest of it, well of course we do have a single track which is now Sophy compatible. Not one of my personal favorites, but I do know people like that, so some people will probably get enjoyment out of that one. And of course we have the scapes, which honestly just get lost to time. I couldn't name a specific kind of bunch of scapes that haven't just kind of disappeared into the rest of them after a couple of days or so. So overall it's not bad, but it definitely could have been better. But again, my expectations were low considering the time frame, and of course the World Series starting up soon, which is where they're going to want to get the most eyes on any bigger update trailer they may release. I'm not saying that's absolutely set in stone, but again, it's the most logical thing for them to do. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow morning to take a look through the patch notes to see if there's any nicer things in the finer details here, but again, I'm not expecting too much from them. Anyway, I'll dive into them tomorrow morning. See you later guys, take care, peace.